Houston Rockets, James Harden. That's what we're hearing. The Athletic and a bunch of others are reporting that James Harden is coming back to Houston. It's inevitable. All these other things. But it kind of, we've talked about it. It doesn't feel like a Ime Udoka Rockets move like as of right now.
I'm gonna call in a favor from Karma and be like, can you please let Daryl Morey screw that team up and give him a max deal, and so he could stay over there?
They did.
He owes us that.
They did have reports they're not going to offer him a max, but I think they still make him an offer. You need Harden over there more than we need him here.
And I don't know who they would replace him with over there.
Yeah, and
Kyrie maybe.
I think if Doc was still there, I'd feel more like, oh, he's coming here because of that. But
so, do you feel like firing Doc was a move Philly did to make sure to entice Harden to stay?
I think so.
I hope you're right, because I don't want him on my team. I don't understand the rationale. Like, people say he's hard and he makes the team better. It's like, yeah, of course he's going to make the team better because we weren't that good.
Yeah.
But it's like, you're public enemy like number 3, bro. You screwed our team over. And then people are like, oh, you're just bitter about it. Well, fucking yeah, I am. Yeah, because we went from perennial contender to like bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I like the young guys we got and all that stuff. But yeah, we sucked for 3 years pretty much. Like going on, like,
and people were just taking him back. It's like, what are you doing?
He went to Brooklyn, then he left Brooklyn, and we know that there was stuff there because they all left. And he went to Philly. And wait, now you're gonna come back to Houston? Like it's not a reunion thing like that. We don't need that. We're good. We did this ride. Thank you for the memories, and that's it. Like,
it was like we were catching shit because I was like, okay, if Harden comes, there's a strong possibility you might get a lower seed in the playoff or a high play in. But it's like, is that good enough? I would rather suck a little longer and see if we can do better.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
And the narrative is funny because we didn't have any vets, and people were giving us shit like, oh, they don't have any vets. They need vets. They need vets. And then now, sadly, James Harden's name's coming up, and people are like, oh, don't bring him over here, though. They don't need vets. Let the young guys play. And it's like, well, make your mind up. Like, we were letting them play, and we got shit on. And then now you're saying that we need to just let them play now because we don't need vets.
Okay, let me make this clear to the dummies. I want vets to come in and teach our young guys to be professional basketball players.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking for. I'm not looking for a dude who's like holding on to the last remnants of his prime and come ruin my team again. Like, no, we're not doing this, bro. It just makes no sense.
I mean, you look at Harden, and I mean, we saw in just the Philadelphia playoffs, both sides of Harden that Houston fans know. The guy that shows up one game and then the next game or two, he's non-existent. And then, I mean, we've seen this carousel. I told 76ers fans, good luck. Like, it was going to happen. Now, you look at another guy, past Rockets, Pat Beverley, on his podcast saying that he may be back in Houston and all that stuff. And
I think he's just jumping on that James Harden train to put his name out there for some money. Maybe I'm hoping he's just being an attention whore. Is all he's doing.
He's probably trying to get out of Chicago also, but
I think he's a free agent.
Yeah, as I say, he's probably trying to be like, nah, I don't want to go back here. But
there's somebody will make an offer to you, Pat, but I don't know that I want you here either. Even though I don't necessarily hate the idea.
Yeah,
it's just because in my mind I'm still optimistic, or I'm okay with the thought of drafting a Amen Thompson number 4, or trading up for Scoot and still keeping Kevin Porter.
Yeah.
Because those guys seem more like who Ime would coach. I really want to see Kevin Porter get a fair shake. Like, let him play for a real coach.
Man, like, we've talked about it for 2 seasons of Kevin Porter playing, and for even last year, he's putting up numbers that we said not many people are going to put up, and he was getting shit on still. People were like, trade him. It's like,
he's not a pure point. I get it. and he does turn the ball over quite a bit, but he's still a very good professional basketball player. Like there's use for him on the team. And just because Steven Silas had no clue how to use these guys doesn't mean Ime doesn't.
Yeah. And if you don't have faith in Ime, look at what's going on with the Boston Celtics and
Yes.
abysmal that they're talking about. They never healed over losing Ime Udoka. We got a good one. He knows how to use players. He gets a fresh start. Your players get a fresh start with somebody that knows basketball, knows schemes, knows the systems. And so as I said, I think, and then you just look at like how they talked about Kevin Porter. Like they like him, not stuff. And we look at our guys of. I know you're a big advocate for Josh Christopher, and it's
Yes.
like that's another guy that we think needs to get some more playing time.
I
So
feel like Ime also is gonna be. He possibly could be able to do the one thing that we've been asking for like most of this season, and that's to get Porter to agree to come off the bench, and probably Sengun. Well, he'll make them, but also like he'll do it in a way that it's not a big deal where they'll embrace the role. So like I think that would be super dope to draft Amen Thompson, start the season with Kevin Porter, and see if he can hold the job. If not, then you're coming off the bench.
yeah, I mean this is a new season. Everybody competes for their spot pretty much, and
At the very least, by doing so, there's a strong possibility that Kevin Porter can look good enough in this, whatever we're going to try to do, that increases his value. You could trade him.
yeah, and he has trade value. Let's be
Yes.
realistic, people. The Athletic also reported. I mean, there's been a few also, but they were the main ones that posted it. Kelly Aiko said there's a few free agents that we're looking at, and we've talked about them before. The Dillon Brooks, the
Mm-hmm.
Cam Johnson, the Austin Reeves, of course James Harden we already spoke on, and Brooke Lopez were some of the veterans they were looking at, and I honestly don't want any of them.
Is not only do I not want them, I just don't see how it makes sense for any of those guys to want to come here. I really don't.
I guess
We're
let's look at Dillon Brooks. Do you want any part of that here?
see that shit don't scare me because we got Ime.
Yeah.
So I think Ime will keep that in check. But then also like, what is Dillon Brooks? He'll obviously be a small forward, but I kind of think that at the beginning of his career, he was kind of known as a scorer, and then he went to a defensive pest.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are you bringing to us? And what do we need? You know what I'm saying? Because are you bringing back Kenyon Martin? Are you holding Jay Sean Tate? Do you value Tari Eason as a starter?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if we're being completely honest and say that I don't bring back Kenyon Martin, and I personally don't think that Tyree Eason is a starter. He can get starter minutes off the bench, but I just don't see you as a starter. If I'm going to spend that money to go get me a starting small forward, which is what we'll ask Dillon Brooks to do, I'm going to take a shot at somebody better. Even if it's through trade or something.
Yeah.
Or entertain the idea of playing Jalen Green at small forward and playing Josh Christopher.
Ooh. I know he's gonna flirt with that lineup for sure.
Or is it too much to ask? Is it too big of a team to maybe think about playing Jabari at the 3, Sengun at the 4, and then get you a defensive-minded center? Naj Reid is a free agent from Minnesota. He's a center. Somebody's going to steal him in this free agency. My question is he too offensive-minded to play for Houston? Because I think he might be with Sengun and Jabari. So if we think that he's too offensive-minded, then I wouldn't hate the idea of Houston going to try and get Jock Landale from Phoenix. The white dude. He straight up outplayed DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah, that'll be a good one too. For sure. I mean, we need a center. Like, I do agree. Defensive-minded center would be better. I don't need everybody out there trying to shoot the damn ball all the time. Like, there's only enough ball to go around for him. Man, I like both those guys though. It's going to be interesting to see where he puts Jabari if Shingun stays. I think Shingun stays at the 4 for now. depending on how the season goes, just because of the work he's putting in right now. His 3-point shots getting better, but to stay there, he definitely needs to get that 3-point shot up. That's something that he even said. He goes, I need to work on this. I need to get it. And Ime talked about it, spacing. It's all about spacing. He wants people that can help his guys with spacing. And so, I mean, you look at the guys that he's going after, and I mean, they can at least shoot the ball at a decent level of it. I mean, Brook Lopez can shoot. Cam Johnson was doing pretty good for Phoenix and Brooklyn. And then you look at Austin Reeves. That's cold white boy right there. That boy can play.
I would
But
like to have him on our team, to be honest with you, but everybody wants to bring him in as a starting point guard, and I don't know if I trust him enough to do that.
yeah, so there's a rumor going around, and they don't say who it's from, but I keep seeing it from people that are like actual sources. And I told you that there's a team that is supposedly going to throw some money at him to kind of steal him from the Lakers,
Mm-hmm.
and it's us as the
I,
rumor team.
I wouldn't hate it,
Yeah,
because if I get Reeves and I could play that one with Kevin Porter, I would trade that fourth pick and try to get. I'm still stuck on what the fuck is it going to cost me to get Brandon Ingram. So, I'm not saying make the trade. I'm not saying we're going to do it. I'm saying I want to know what that costs.
Yeah, and if you get Austin Reeves, let's say you get him, even if you don't, if you were to trade, that fourth pick is becoming very valuable. There's a lot of people that want one of the Thompson twins. If Miller falls, there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen in that draft. And it seems like the Rockets are saying they're going to pick somebody. But if you get a trade for like an Ingram or somebody, you might have to take a look at that and be like,
You
hey,
strongly, and I think that the players on the team would embrace that, because like Jabari said, like he's like, I'm the big vet on this team,
yeah,
and I'm a baby. He didn't say it like that. He's like, I'm a baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't need no more young people.
yeah.
He's like, I have personal relationships with everybody on the team. We're like brothers, but we're all the same. You know what I'm saying? So like, nobody thinks they're better than that. But I think we're at a point in time where it's like, you can bring in somebody like an Ingram who, you know, I don't pretend to know I know what he's like in the locker room, but his style of play is kind of conducive to not being an asshole.
And he'll fit the mold also, I feel, of like that goon squad kind of hard basketball that Ime is going to have them played, and the way that their personalities are, because we saw
Dude,
it
he's going to
already.
look just like Tatum.
Yeah. As I said, I really do think that they trade that fourth and I believe the 20th pick for a veteran, just because of the way that they said they're in the next phase.
Yeah.
And Raphael Stone said, he goes, the next phase is bringing in vets to now go around our core players and all that stuff. And it was like, oh, if we get Victor, then cool, that's fine. But we didn't. Okay, now we're going to go here and all that stuff. And I feel like if you can get an Ingram, then that's fine. I go for it, man, because that's what you need. I know there's centers all the time that are everybody's talking about Karl Anthony Towns and DeAndre Ayton. I don't want either one of those.
I actually think Karl Anthony Towns would fit on the Ime team a little bit, but I just don't know if it fits the timeline, because he's going to come in and try to be the number one scorer right off the rip. But I actually feel like he could fit in Ime. Like, if I look at what Ime did with Boston, is like Cat could be in that Al Horford role.
I was thinking that right now. I was like, he can shoot, he can space, he can do everything. I don't need, and it could be, hey, I don't need you to do what you were doing over there. I don't need you to be number two. I need you to just go out, produce, and give me this stuff. And
I just don't know if he'll do it, which makes me think. And the reason I've mentioned that is because Ime might could get Al Horford on this team.
And that's what a lot of people are saying. With Ime there, it changes the game of players wanting to play for him, of players wanting to see they know him as a coach and what he can do and everything. I mean, there's a lot of players in the league that respect him still, even after all this stuff. I mean, we look at. I know that you said there was some free agents that you had that aren't being named that we should look at.
I kind of want to go after a player like Cam Reddish, because I think you could get him on the cheap. He's versatile, and I want to know what you can do, because if we don't get King and Martin back, I think he'll fit.
Yeah.
And if we can't get you, like Joe Ingles would fit this team. He could facilitate. He could shoot. He's a pretty decent wing defender.
Yeah.
Like those are the kind of vets we want because we could bring you in for decent money and then trade you at the deadline if somebody really wants you, and we're not going to be butthurt about it.
Yep.
Those are the kind of guys I want to bring. And I also would, if you trade that pick, depending on how much money you bring in with the player, I don't hate Dennis Schroeder playing for Ime.
And there's a lot of talks of Lakers trying to do something or whatever. And so if stuff happens, stuff becomes available, you can move players. For right now, the Rockets they kind of are on that Texans stuff. They're kind of quiet about it. They're not really saying much. And I like it because you don't know what trades are out there. We have heard the report that we said there's a lot of teams calling for that fourth pick. So I wonder what people are offering them.
Yeah, I question that. Like, here's my question to you: do you feel better knowing that we're shopping it or that people are calling? Like, do you aggressively want them to be on the phone? Like, I want this. I see something I want. I'm going to try to go get it with our picks. Or do you just want to sit back and see what the best you could get for it?
I kind of like them shopping it. Like
I do too.
Yeah, people calling for it because it's like, okay, now the value's up and you really want this pick. What are you going to offer me? And all that stuff. And then if it's like, hey, well, I can give you like Brandon Ingram, but you got to throw something. All right, well, I'll throw you my 20th pick also.
And let's just see, what do they need over there? They'll need like a center, a big or something. The problem is I think that team is prepared to fill that role that he leaves behind. Najee Marshall, Herb Jones, all those guys. So they kind of have wings over there, and they just drafted a point. And I don't think we have a center to give up for Brandon Ingram.
Yeah.
So we'd have to give up a player like Josh Christopher or somebody like that.
Let's say if Ja Morant suspended for half a season and they started trading people, is there anybody on Memphis you'd want to look at? If you can get them, not for the fourth pick, I think, but like if you can get them for like a cheap.
I don't see anybody on that team worth the fourth pick because Desmond Bane, I mean, we don't really need you because we have guards. Jaren Jackson, I'm still banking that Jabari is going to be better than you. I mean, Steven Adams, maybe.
I was thinking like Steven Adams for like, I mean, definitely not that fourth pick, but like.
Now, the only player on that team I could honestly think I would give up would be Tyus Jones, the backup point guard, because I told James a million times I thought Tyus Jones was the best backup in basketball.
Yeah.
But like, what do you value? Here's my issue with doing some stupid shit like that is if I trade for a backup point guard, I'm basically giving the finger to Ty.
Yeah.
Because I seen what you did in the G League. You're obviously too good to play there. You're an NBA player.
Yeah. Balling. And that's where I think like as much as like if you were to get a trade for Ingram, that's fine. If you were going to trade for a center, I think that's fine. If you sign a center, that's fine because that's what we need. And if you were to bring in a shooter, like you said, Joe Ingles, Austin Reeves, something like that, that fits. You can fit that in the system somewhere. But I do agree. Like if you go and trade for a spot where one of these legit younger guys has shown you potential and Silas just was never able to bottle that potential up and use it, I do think it's a slap in the face for sure. And
it's a lot less of a slap in the face to him if you just sign a vet to come in. Because it's like we gave up no assets for him. We could cut ties when we want. The money's not a big deal. Opposed to like, no, if we trade for Tyus Jones, we got to play him because we just gave up the 20th pick for his ass. But now I really don't have no spot for Ty.
Yeah.
But there's a big difference to me if you could get a big, like a star, a foundational piece like Ingram who could play the three, which like if we're being completely honest, Jabari's our forward going forward, and you could use an elite wing player.
And he could take over some games for sure. Like
for sure. I can only like he would be our best mid-post player. I mean Sengun, but I think Brandon Ingram is the perfect fit for the Rockets.
If it happens, we remember in this video. Like they listen.
I've been hollering that shit for 2 weeks.
I mean, it's a really nice fit. It helps both teams out. If we're being honest, New Orleans has too much in that one area and everything. Yeah, and I know the Karl Anthony Towns thing keeps being talked about. That's a 50-50 from what people are saying. I just don't want the James Harden stuff to be real. Pat, I
Yeah, I
don't
don't
really
want
care,
Harden at
bro.
all. I'm gonna be
Um,
mad. Like I don't see how that helps us at all.
yeah, I know the Cam Johnson thing. That was something they were looking at last year. So I just feel like that's something they're. I don't know. They just love. I think he's like their poor man Bridges kind of pick.
He is. I actually think the difference between them is I think that Bridges is a little bit better off the bounce.
Yeah,
Maybe but Cam can play the four. He can guard the four.
yeah,
But then I start thinking it's like, and we got Jabari, we got Tari, we got Jay Sean. We might be bringing Kmart back. Like I don't really like he's an upgrade over them, but it's like who am I prepared to get rid of? I don't
yeah.
foresee Jay. I don't know if Jay Sean makes this team. I think they trade him.
And
But
that's
then
what
I think about it and it's like Ime might like that guy.
yeah, he's always injured though last year.
But
So
we pay him nothing.
I
Like
know
we don't pay him shit, bro.
his contract's like that's an NBA contract. Yeah. Oh shit. All right. Yeah, I just man, for me, I really do think like I think there's a trade happening. I don't know for what. I don't think if it's something major, of course, it's that fourth pick.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think for sure. I feel like for sure we are that team that's going to try to steal Austin Reeves away from the Lakers, and it's just the way Ime talked about the shooting, spacing, shooting. They're going after all the shooters that they can that are veterans that
I
make
mean, there's even other guys that you could chase after, bro. Like, I don't want Hachimura, but he's there. Like, he got experience this year.
yeah.
Kuzma, if you want him, but I don't want him either. Even though I know he shot the Rockets out of some games this year.
Kristaps Porzingis.
You know what? I don't hate the idea of him playing center for the Rockets, except he wants like $180 million, and I don't want to give that to you.
Yeah.
But I do like bringing in the idea of bringing in a veteran like Al Horford.
I think perfect. That's why the Brook Lopez thing, I wasn't mad. I don't think he leaves Milwaukee, but like an Al Horford or something, like especially when they lose this next game and they're out, and he's like, hey, I gotta get,
Another name that people should keep their ear out for that might be here and you don't suspect it is Marcus Morris Sr. That's the Ime guy. Like he might just come in and is like, you know what? You're just sitting on the bench for the Clippers. Come to Houston. You're not going to win shit here either, but you could teach these young guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just the coaching. The coaches make a big difference. We saw that with the Texans, with D'Amico. A lot of veterans started wanting to come over here. A lot of trades happening. I said, I think this is good.
Do you really feel like you mentioned it earlier? Like they were saying that Boston, Ime should get credit for how bad Boston looks right now because he's not there. He's a better coach in Missoula. Do you think that that's a thing?
I think it is. The way that they came out, like the playoffs of it, like there was just certain things, like even hearing their coach talk, it's kind of like, dude, you're not confident in them. And I don't want to say it's not like as bad as like Steven Silas's where you knew like, hey, this dude ain't got nothing in that.
Here's the way I look at it is they played Atlanta and they should have closed them out, but Atlanta won a couple games and they ended up winning that series on talent. And then y'all kind of played around with Philly for a while.
Yeah.
And it took like the best game Tatum ever had to close them out. And y'all really just showed up to play the Heat. So it's like that's bad coaching, and that shouldn't happen for Ime.
No, and that's like I want to say it was Brian Windhorst, but it might have been somebody else. But it was a big NBA like scout and reporter, and he had said it. He goes that a lot of the players admit that they still have not healed from losing Ime the way that they did. Because
I'm not a Jaylen Brown hater, but don't do nothing drastic to trade for him.
No. With the fourth pick, the Houston Rockets.
I just don't think that they would trade him. Like I don't see how it would benefit Boston to get a shit ton of picks if you're in win now mode right now.
If you have Tatum, you're not trading Brown. Like it's just
Well, I mean, this team has been they're like top 4 every year since these two been together. Like you guys are always going to be in win now mode. So like, what are you going to do? Have Tatum and a bunch of 18-year-olds?
Yeah, I didn't really see the Brown thing. Like I get it, the comparison with Ime and him. That's one of Ime's guys. But I don't really get that.
Unless Jaylen Brown really wants to be the guy on a team.
And that might be. I mean, the good thing about the NBA is you can do 5-team trades and send like Siakam over there or some shit.
Oh, just don't send him here.
Well, there you go. Siakam can go to Timberwolves. We can get Karl Anthony Towns. Timberwolves can get Toronto can get somebody else. I don't know.
But remember this: we're gonna have to send something out.
Yeah, they can have Deshaun Nix, Jayshawn.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna go for that one.
Boban.
I think the league's gonna be savvy here pretty soon and realize how good of a basketball player Jalen Green is, and some people gonna want him because y'all gonna put some respect on this dude's name this season.
Yeah, this is for sure the season where Jalen Green takes that, and he's ready. You could see it. He was trying, and he just never got it.
He's training with Paul George's trainer now, Noah LaRoche, and the thing that makes me excited is like he tells you what he's working on. He's like, I'm working on my reads. I'm working on court vision. And I was like, all right, like this dude's legit trying to get his brain right because he knows he has the tools in the bag, you know. So I'm excited for Jalen.
It's gonna be a fun year. Gonna be a fun year, and we're not even into the good part of it.
I was about to say we haven't got a draft pick, we haven't got free agents or nothing yet.
I'm hyped already for it just from what we have. I just like the way that they vouch for each other. Like Tari vouches for Jabari. Like they're all in that mindset. Like nah, like you ain't gonna say nothing about us. Like we got.
See, I was super dope that Adidas put out a video on YouTube of Jalen and Jabari.
Yeah,
it was called "Earn Your Stripes," and I was like, okay. This is their team. This is their team. These two, you know. Let's keep it that way. Like, give them a chance to learn together.
Yeah, we've seen what two people can do. Especially it's like you got an offense, defensive, 1-2 punch type of thing.
Hey, don't forget there was games this season where Jabari was clutch. He hit that game winner against New Orleans,
bro.
Yes. Like, I liked him too.
Nah, and we talk about Jabari comes from basketball family, like he knows it already and all that stuff. So you could tell that stylist stuff wasn't like, nah, fam, like this ain't it.
Let's just keep it real. Silas didn't know what the fuck he was doing.
Yeah, he had too much and didn't know what he was doing with it.
He's too nice of a person.
Yeah. Like Eric Gordon freaking started every damn game.
Who the fuck would sit Jalen Green down at the end of the first quarter and he not play 8 minutes of game time? But you got Gary Bird out there, Garrison Matthews, dumbass. Come on now.
I forgot he was on the damn team. There we go. That's our vet, bro. We don't need any more. Nah.
He's not on our team. We traded him.
Nah, no, I just fucking.
Where'd he go? Atlanta?
I think so, yeah.
Atlanta.
Somewhere. There's people mad when we traded him. I was laughing. I was like, get over it, dog. Well, Rockets fans.
We'll worry together.
I'm not even going to ask y'all about the James Harden thing because most of y'all spoke on our YouTube and our Facebook about it, that y'all don't want him back, and I'm happy to read that.
So don't lie. We know you motherfuckers agree with us.
Yeah. I said, let us know about Brandon Ingram. Do you think Brandon Ingram? Do you think Karl Anthony Towns is a good trade? We've talked about Trae Young one time and everything. There's a lot out there that you could trade for. Do we pick at 4? Do we trade it? What do you want us to do?
If you want to, we can all start a rumor together. Whatever y'all want to do. LeBron to Houston. Fuck it.
Fuck it. But, man, y'all make sure y'all like, subscribe right here to the network. We got you covering all Houston sports. Go follow our Facebook. All Houston sports, breaking news, man. We got you covered. We'll be doing a lot more of these. Y'all be safe, Houston. We out.
Peace.
How much I'm working for this? I swear my dreams are too important.